There are details on ISO-8, Negasonic Teenage Warhead's event, and more rumors. All of that and more coming up on your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. And if you guys are ready for it, Khasino, my brother, tell them what to do.
Let's start drinking.
ValleyFlyin.
What is up, Valley Maniacs? ValleyFlyin here. I am back. Welcome to your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update. As usual, I am joined by my brother, Khasino. How are you doing, man?
I'm a few shots in at this point. I'm doing pretty good.
Oh, yes. Disclaimer time, guys. Khasino is joining us after stream, and his stream bought him many shots during his stream. So this might get a little weird, but good week in Marvel Strike Force. Right? Or no?
I've been having fun. I don't know. I'm having a good time now. That's all I know.
Cool. Well, speaking of good times, you had a first this week. Would you care to share that, my celebrity friend?
Oh, yes. Well, thank you for asking. I'm glad you got my press packet that I sent before this. But so yeah, I did get noticed in the real world for the first time, like not at a convention or anything, and I wasn't expecting it at all. We were going to a Japanese hobby shop while we were out on the town. My girlfriend's friend is in town, so we just popped into some random shop. I was looking at like Gundam model kits, and I walk in, and the person behind the desk is like, "Oh, you're Khasino," and I was like, "Yes, I am, but how did you know that?" I started thinking like, "Am I wearing a name tag or something? Like, how does this person know that?" And then they're like, "I'm playing Marvel Strike Force right now." I'm like, "Oh,
watch your videos. You're on my TV."
Yeah. I was like, holy crap. So, yeah, it's fun to check that one off the bucket list. But really the point of the story was I'm kind of a big deal now.
Bragging.
I'm what's known in the biz as a bit of a big deal. So, you know, for future episodes, I'll have my people get in touch with your people. Maybe we'll renegotiate a little bit.
Well, hold on. You're not the only person that got noticed, so I'm going to have my people contact your people, and they can contact you. We're going to have to go through proxies from now on, because...
That's true. My mom did mention that she met you at the grocery store.
Oh, my goodness. No, I had a real meeting.
All right.
Anyway, let's get on to some Marvel Strike Force stuff instead of just our personal lives here.
What could be more important than me?
Not much, my friend.
Yeah, there's no response prepared for that. He was like, "Oh my god!" All right.
Where in the world is Mr. Sinister? We got notice in a blog post that he is here a couple weeks ago, but just as soon as we started recording, we got this notice that he is now available in the War Store. What is going on with this? Why did they say he was available before he was?
So actually, it's a really long story. I'm gonna start from the top. But there's a lot of things went into this. There's a ton of pieces in play. But so here's this whole story. You ready? So they put out a dev blog that says Mr. Sinister is in the War Store now, but no one's seeing him. So I messaged someone at Fox Next, and it turns out their response was, "Oopsies."
I would expect nothing less. I thought Fox Next. Not making all these errors again, but I guess it's happening. But yes, he apparently is available now. I have not seen him in my store, but let us know in the comments just to make sure that he is there, because I thought he was there before.
He's there now.
Apparently he's not. Did you actually see him? Did you actually see him?
No, but people send me screenshots. They're like, "He's in there now. He's in there now."
Cool.
Yeah, the game mail went out at the right time. The blog post was early.
All right, new event, a Serendipity event for Domino shards. We talked a little bit about this last week as in preparation for it. Now it's actually here. Thoughts on this so far? How's your drop rate been with getting some Domino shards into center?
Better than previous ones, I'd say. Definitely better than other ones. So, not remarkable, not incredible. I don't get Domino almost every time, but like Proxima, I got her in the center like twice ever. So it's not bad.
Hey, this one's pretty good. We got some Sinister. I was like, oh, I didn't get Domino, but I got Toad. I got some Toad. Pretty happy for me.
Toad consolation prize ain't bad.
Sinister either, especially since he hasn't been in this War Store until now.
I have him 7-star, but I realize I'm one of like 5 people in the whole game that has him 7-star, and if you don't, it's way worth it.
Problems. The celebrity status is going to your head.
Listen, all right. when you get to an elite level like me, no, I'm just kidding. I realize that Sinister Charge is good news for absolutely everyone but like 5 people. So I'm super glad that he's in that orb, and I want more people to get more Sinister Shards.
I do as well. All right, an interesting event that we got, and this one was kind of outdated for a while. For a long time, you've been saying this is the worst event. They kind of redid it, added some cool new things, but this Relic Hunter event came around, and I think I upgraded one piece of gear after that event, and seems a little low for an event that comes around once a month. We've been wanting this to be upgraded for a while. What are your thoughts on this event? What do you think is appropriate amount for an event that comes around once a month?
I mean, on the one hand, it's like, oh, who are you to complain? Like, it's free stuff, you know? So, and they did just make it even better. So it's like, you know, it's a little bit odd to be like, listen, we are entitled to at least 500 ABCs. You know what I mean? But I do agree that compared to like the average amount we bring in for like gold compared to what we get from a Payday, the average amount of T4s compared to a block party, the average amount of promotion credits compared to the Wakanda event, this one is definitely the short end of the stick. And I would say to bring it within an appropriate amount compared to the others, so I'm just ballparking it. I'd have to actually do the math, but I'd say, probably like 150 ABCs at a minimum, for like 3-4 items at a minimum.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that seems a little more rewarding, especially for an event that's happening once a month. You know, it's not like these challenges that are happening 3 times a week. Once a month, and then, you get to upgrade one piece of gear just seems underwhelming, but 3 or 4, I would be a little more happy with that as well. All right, big blitz this past weekend for Ironheart. Little bit below the first iteration of that Cull Obsidian Blitz. Did this surprise you, or is this kind of expected, considering that she's not like an essential member of this team? As a lot of people are running that Vision version of that Power Armor team. She upgrades it slightly, but was this surprising to you, the Blitz scores for her initial Blitz?
I mean, it was right in line with our predictions, so I wouldn't really say it was a surprise. Like, we never know quite what it's going to be, so it was somewhat unexpected. But again, it was right in line with what we predicted. There were reasons why we thought she'd be higher and reasons why we thought she'd be lower. But I mean, Cull Obsidian was a critical component of the new strongest synergy team in the game. Yeah. Whereas Ironheart is a moderate improvement to what I would describe as like a middling team. Power Armor is like a middling team. They certainly shine quite a bit in Alliance War, but what people have to remember is like Alliance War itself is only 3 days a week, and for many alliances that do the off war, Alliance War is really 2 days a week that they take it seriously. And then when they do take war seriously, one team often doesn't make that big of a difference. There's so many war offense and war defense teams. So FoxX likes to push war offense and war defense teams. But ultimately, if a team is like pretty much just a war team, that's like the most inconsequential a team can be. Like, I'm all for it, but a raid team is a much bigger deal. An arena team is a much bigger deal. Agreed. A team that unlocks a legendary is a much bigger deal. A team that has some kind of niche, in some mode, but just like a war offense team or a war defense team, like of all the things for your team to be, that would be the one where it's like, well, if you don't have it, then you just have a slightly worse arena defense team, or a slightly worse war defense team that still gets one shot by someone's Fantastic Four or whatever it is,
Yeah, agreed. And at least for me, both of those aren't super high on the list, but I think for me, a war offense team holds a little more value than a war defense team, particularly because I can use that team. I can see that team function, whereas a war defense team, they get all these bonuses, but other than seeing some stats in the win column on defensive wins, I don't really get to see that team really shine. So for me, offense is a little better than war defense, but yeah, just not as much as Blitz, not as much as not Blitz, not as much as Arena or Raids or some of these more valuable game modes, in my opinion.
Yep. Now, just to offer a counterpoint to that, I agree. Like, I prefer a war offense team. I'm really glad X-Force is war offense. War offense is more fun, but I would argue that war defense is slightly more impactful because, like, right now, let's say like they go, yeah, you know what, we're not releasing X-Force. we're already full clearing helicarriers. So X-Force isn't going to be like, now we're going to double full clear helicarriers. Like, we're going to full clear helicarriers still. It will be easier and cleaner. It might happen earlier, but like if they release some super crazy, I don't want them to, but if they release some super crazy defense team and it was like, dang, at a minimum, you have to 3-shot that defense team, like that might actually significantly shake up war, where it's like, well, now we got to be smarter about our attacks because it's not really a race to full clear. We're going to get hung up on the, whatever, the Howard the Duck team. We're never going to clear that, whatever it is. So the offense team, I feel like, doesn't make that big of a difference because like if they were just like, all right, we're not releasing any more war offense teams for a while, it would just shift for like, all right, well, now we have to save Black Order for this new team, which means we have to use our X-Men for this team, which means we have to use our Fantastic Four for this team and our symbiotes and our Aimtron. Like there's good attack teams. So
no, I agree. As far as impacting the game and actually strategy and helping your alliance, the defensive teams work a little better. But as far as fun, they're not very fun. I don't like them. They have more impact. I just don't like them. I like the war offense teams a lot more.
Same.
All right, and we saw this in the data mines last week. Raid season updates. It looks like it went into effect earlier this week. They added extra rank slots for 4th through 100th place, so getting a little more rewards, more T4 ability materials for all ranks, ranking structure. Now, there was some issues with this when people saw this. Has this, now that this is in effect, are the rewards matching up? So if you go up higher tiers, you're getting more rewards, or is there still something screwy with the rewards? Because earlier this week I saw something, some people doing calculations like the rewards are a little screwy. Have you taken a look at the numbers yet?
They were. So they actually did a change in 2 parts. But so basically, and this might not be exactly related, but I think what you're referring to is 100%ing. I'm just picking 2 random ones, the ones that my alliance deal with. 100%ing difficulty 2 of Ultimate 7 gives you better rewards than 60% difficulty 3.
Yes, and I think it's more rewards than difficulty 4 at 60% as well, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least some of the materials of at least the blog post that I saw. So do you know if that has been changed as well with this update, or is that still in effect?
So I know what they did was they changed it. So firstly, the season points, I think, and I could be wrong, I think the season points for 60% are now better. The actual like gold and orange elite orb shards, or sorry, just orange gear, orb shards, and purple gear, and the T4s, I think all those things are still better for the 100% lower difficulty. Okay. But the season points, I think, are higher. Okay. So, and by being like, well, now the higher you rank in season, the better your season rewards. I think that was kind of designed to entice people, but I don't think it was a complete success. But I know now that if you get like 80%, that it gets better.
And instead of the 60%, just those few nodes, even though you're not reaching the next milestone, will get you more points.
Now 80% difficulty 3 is going to be the same or better than 100% difficulty 2. Okay. So it's a step in the right direction. It's still not perfect, but yeah, it's a step in the right direction. And it adds an element of risk, because even if you're like, hey, we may not get 80%, but we should definitely be able to 100% the difficulty before this. It still only takes one person to not show up, and then you don't get it, and then you're like, man, we gambled on this and we still lost. Damn it! Get your crap together, Khasino, or whoever it is. I messed it up earlier today. In my defense, I went to an area. And if anyone knows,
you got recognized and kind of distracted you from raids.
No, different area. I wasn't talking about myself on this day. No, we went to a place called the Mystery Spot in Santa Cruz, and it's a place it's up in the mountains where there's absolutely no signal. So by the time I got down from the mountain and finally got some signal, I had an alliance mate call me like, hey, can you hop in Alpha? And also, you missed Ultimate 7.
It was some strange magnetic field. It wasn't some fan recognizing you.
They're separate incidents. No, I was just without phone service, but I cost us 100% Ultimate 7. I suck. It feels bad. It's so bad when you're the leader too. I don't try to do it on purpose, but when I'm like,
the alliance is like named after you and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then it's like, who screwed it up? Oh, you know, that guy with his name on everything. Yeah, sucks.
Speaking of raids, we have the alpha raids back. How excited are you about this, baby?
I am so excited. I love the raid. Nah, I don't give a crap. Same old same, man.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
And speaking of awesomeness, more awesomeness, Night Nurse Blitz. We also got notice of that in the blog post. How excited are you about this?
Oh man, when I heard Night Nurse Blitz, I was doing laps around my house. I was doing cartwheels. I was so excited. I love Night Nurse Blitz.
So am I. I was doing laps, push-ups, all kind of things. I was so happy Night Nurse.
I actually went out. I insisted that my girlfriend go out and buy confetti. I told her she had to get the party streamers, the things you blow into that make the noise. Yeah, we made it a whole thing. Absolutely.
As soon as I saw the blog post, I was like, I gotta order my Night Nurse cosplay right now, and hopefully it comes before this Blitz is over, because that would be a shame if I don't get to wear that Night Nurse cosplay while this Blitz is still going on.
You heard it here first, guys. 200 likes and Valley has guaranteed Night Nurse cosplay on the next weekly news update. I am so excited. I love when I get to take 3 days off of Blitz.
Me too. Where were we?
I don't know. I got so excited at Night Nurse Blitz. I lost our Blitz.
All right, so we had the Phoenix event return. So congratulations to all those players that unlocked Phoenix. It looks like we are still on schedule. Foxnix holding to their release cadence. Up next, supposed to be Star-Lord, and it looks like it is, according to this blog post. So thoughts on Star-Lord? Not one of the best legendary characters, but still one of the best characters in the game, correct?
Yeah, he's definitely up there. So in the most recent tier list, we took him just out of God tier into demigod tier. But definitely with synergy, he can pop back up to God if you have him paired with the right person. But yeah, he's so some of his stats have fallen off, right? His health is no longer that impressive compared to the health bars of, like, there's plenty of non-legendary characters that just have so much more health than him. Like the symbiote Spider-Man is just a random one. A ton of people have. He has way more health. In terms of damage, his opening ultimate used to be this really, really fast, really scary. It used to be one of the earliest, most hard-hitting burst attacks in the game. And nowadays, it's not that early. I forget what his exact speed is, but I want to say he's around like 120. And we have a bunch of characters around like 127 these days. So he's not that fast. His burst, it's like 500 and something %, which, like, it's nothing to scoff at. But if it's not like a 7 red star Star-Lord, his burst isn't terribly destructive. Maybe if you get like a defense down on someone beforehand. But so his main thing are his blinds, which are nice. They're unavoidable. His focus isn't incredible by today's standards, but it should be more than enough to land the blinds. Mm-hmm. But like the blinds are more needed on the first turn often, and a lot of times that you then have to choose between the special and the ultimate. And the thing is, the special gives out ability energy, which is nice. But if you go too fast and you give out ability energy before people have used abilities, you run the risk of throwing energy on people that don't need it. So his main thing is his passive. His passive gives out a bunch of energy. It's super nice. You can stick him in a corner, and he still holds a unique role as someone who can operate as an energy batter. If you have a character, you're like, this character's amazing, they just have long cooldowns, Star-Lord is your guy. But other than that, he's not. I don't know that he's enough of a team player. Like a lot of the legendaries these days are like defense up to everyone, speed bar for everyone, healing for everyone, all these things. And then Star-Lord's like energy for that guy.
Help the Guardians.
Help the Guardians, but more important, and that's the other thing, is the Guardians aren't a crazy meta team anymore. But again, like he's mostly like, I gave energy to one person. Maybe 2 people. And they're like, all right, like, could you do it for like everyone? Maybe, I don't know. So I like Star-Lord a lot, but he's definitely fallen off a bit. He's still very worth getting because he's easy to get. The Guardians are easy to get. Yeah. And so as a newer player, which we're seeing a pretty good influx of new players these days, that's not to scoff at Star-Lord. If you're a newer player, Star-Lord will do incredible for you, especially like the Star-Lord Rocket Groot combo. Still pretty solid. Even as a late game player, there's still plenty of uses for the Guardians and the BKT teams. But yeah, not as crazy as like Phoenix, who he's following.
Yeah, now I do have to ask about Dark Dimension viability. He was one of the best characters paired with Minerva for Dark Dimension 2. Is he still a character that you're recommending for newer players, mid-game players, for possibly entering Dark Dimension 3? Or just is his energy not coming often enough in that game mode to make him worth it?
Well, so it's actually kind of different. Why he was good for Dark Dimension 2 was because Dark Dimension 2 just took a long time. The enemies had giant health bars, and so like the Minerva ults were like your best opportunity to make progress and take away the health bars. Dark Dimension 3, you have a completely different problem, which is if you don't take turns very quickly, you go splat. Totally different problem. Star-Lord, incredibly susceptible to going splat. So right away, like, well, he's not the strongest pick, because if he gets the wrong sideways glance, he falls over. His ultimate, not crazy damage. You're more looking for people that either give everyone speed up, give everyone defense up, give everyone offense up, blind a ton of enemies. So he, like, by no means is he the worst Dark Dimension 3 pick. If you've taken him in a DD3, like, he's still one of the better characters in the game. I don't think it's a terrible idea, but I definitely don't think you need to. I don't think it's like you have to take Star-Lord or you're doing DD3 wrong. I didn't take him. Most people haven't taken him, and the main reason most people haven't taken him is because he uses tech gear, and there are several other high priority tech characters, like Minerva is tech, Ultron is tech, Scientist Supreme is tech, Shuri is tech. I could go on, but there's like a big list of tech characters that are more important to have. So the main reason I wouldn't recommend Star-Lord is there's so many other tech characters you should take. But if you have like a 7 red star Star-Lord, or you just really like him, he's certainly not the worst option. But I don't recommend him. But it's not like, oh, you took Star-Lord, well, you're never finishing DD3. Like, you'll be all right, but.
So new players just unlocking him, probably taking up to gear 13 for Dark Dimension 2, but probably not 14 for 3. All right, Payday is coming. Oh, another one, baby. Yes. Oh, it's like 3 or 4 in a row. Payday is here. Well, not here yet, but it should be here later this week. Gold galore from all of our mercs.
Wait, if there's anything I've learned from dev vlogs, if it says Payday is here, that means we get to spend the next week wondering where the heck it is.
So maybe not this week, next week it'll be here. People can spend refreshing the event section, and then maybe the Payday event will show up, maybe it won't, but yes, just spend your cores on that event section and see if it shows up.
Quick thing, to their credit, they did say if you want a refund, right into support, so at least they're refunding people. They
make mistakes, but they try to make them right usually. So you got to give them credit for that. But the mistakes are pretty funny.
Oh yeah,
this was pretty interesting. We've seen some of these previously as like test accounts. We've seen this one, an X-Men one. I think there was a Guardians one. There was a few different ones that went out. I guess this is the one that got the most sales, because this was the one that was released to the general public earlier this week. How awesome of an offer is this thing right here?
I mean, it's a pretty good offer. It's 100 yo-yo shards for $25. That is already a much better value than we normally see, right? It's normally like 50 for $30.
50, yeah.
And then it's also 100,000 gold, and it's a ton of other shards for characters. And like a lot of people still don't have 7-star Black Widow, or just, like people probably haven't been farming Hawkeye these days or Captain America. So it's a great deal.
Wait a minute, I'm confused though. It doesn't say what percent off. I think the percent should be like 170% off or something like that if you use the Fox X math, because normally, like you said, 50 shards of yo-yo, $30.
No, the actual way Fox X math works, right, is they have a spin wheel and they just put a bunch of random numbers on it. They spin the wheel, and whenever it lands on, it's that percent off. So I don't have the spin wheel here. I don't know what percent off it would be, but yeah, that's how they decide it.
Yes. In all seriousness, though, this is a very good deal, especially for newer players. So if it's still around when the news video goes up, yes, if it's still around, get this offer. Just the yo-yo shards alone are worth it if you're someone that spends money on this game, and if you're a brand newer player, that's this is great. This is better than anything that was around when I started the game.
I do want to applaud Foxnex on this one. The number, it was fascinating watching the community response to this offer. So many people send me messages like, did you see the bugged shield offer? Dude, quick, log in. You can buy it before it's gone. No, not a single person was like, oh, wow, they're offering this deal to everyone. Every single person was like, they screwed up, buy it. Dude, so many people bought it. And at least half those people were like, quick, buy it before they notice.
Conditioning. They have got the community conditioned. Anytime there's an awesome offer, we gotta buy it right now before it goes away.
buy it, hurry, buy it. Tell your friend to buy it. Buy 2 if you can. Dude.
Marketing at its finest. Good job, Scopely Fox. You've got us ready for these.
And I have a feeling, like, I don't know the story behind this. I never will. But when we did figure out that they were offering these to new players, there were a ton of people who'd been saying like, what? Why is that only offered to new players? If they offered that to me, I'd buy it immediately. And I guess someone at FoxX had read that and was like, you know, I think if we release this to everyone, we'd sell a bunch of them. And then they're like, nah, that's the new player offer. How many can we possibly sell? And that person might push back like, look at the comments. Everyone's saying they'll buy it.
1 billion offers sold.
All I know is they probably sold a crap ton of those, and I would not be surprised if we see another one real soon.
Good. These are the kind of offers we want them pushing, not the $30 for 50 shard type offers. I don't like those. Big thing of the week, and this was just released hours before we started recording, so I don't know if we've both fully digested this whole blog post yet, but ISO-8 preview playtest 2 announced, and it was asked on the content creator server, the Envoy server, that we can say that we're participating in this. So yes, but what are your overall thoughts in this? I guess we'll break down section by section, but just what are your general thoughts on some of the new details we learned about ISO-8?
For me, the biggest thing is, and I'm not even sure if I can say this, but I'm going to. For me, the biggest thing is it's significantly different from the original version of ISO-8 that we saw.
Yes. Yeah, that's what they promised, taking out some of the RNG, and it looks, at least what I'm reading in this blog post, that a lot of the RNG is removed. One thing that they specifically said here, which was a worry, especially from people coming over from Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, will there be bonus speed stats available? No current plans to include speed stats. So they're not saying no, but at least in this first iteration, doesn't look like they're going to be including that. Any other broad thoughts on this before we get into some of the nitty gritty of it all?
No, but I will say you might hear some weird answers, at least from me. And I say this because, as Valley just mentioned, apparently we are allowed to say that we're now testing it, but we were separately told that there's things that we shouldn't talk about until a specified time. And there's some overlap between those things and what's in the blog. So
I'll do my best. Talk about everything in the blog. Everything that's in a blog should be fair game because it's public. So.
All right. I'm going to try.
All right. So each of these ISO-8 crystals has a specific slot to equip one of 5 slots in the matrix. If you have enough ISO-8 crystals of a lower level, you can fuse them together to create a higher ISO-8 crystal. Once you have a crystal in each slot, you can select a class for that character. Classes are part of the feature that allows experimentation theorycraft of ISO-8. We're going to get into the different classes in just a little bit, but what are your thoughts on this feature right here? Combining specific things and having different pieces for different classes, for each different class of characters.
I mean, it sounds good in theory. Like with anything, the numbers are going to have a lot to do with it. So, are we talking like a huge stat boost or a tiny stat boost? Are we talking like it takes a month to get one of these to the higher level, or can you do it in like one day of farming? Like the numbers have a lot to do with it, but the theory behind improving character stats and picking a class and being able to experiment in theorycraft. Those are all things I really like.
All right, so we see some of the stats here. This one says plus 6% resistance. I'm not sure if that's a lower level or a higher level. How big of an impact do you think, or are you hoping that these ISO-8s will have on our characters? Do you think would you rather see something big, like game changer, or some small stat increases like this?
It's kind of a multi-layered answer. Like, I wouldn't mind if they made characters a lot stronger as long as it wasn't tough to get decently close. Like, it's kind of like with gear. Like, I wouldn't mind, if like gear isn't too crazy to get. And outside of gear tier 14, like, it's pretty consistent the whole way up. So the difference between a gear tier 13 and a gear tier 3 is like, wow, gear makes a huge difference. But it's like, yeah, but it's not too hard to go after what you want, get it, allocate it how you want. So it's not as big a deal how much stronger it makes when it's, you can just kind of decide, like, yeah, it makes them real strong, but I'm choosing who gets real strong and how. So it's one of those things where the other numbers in play will really determine it. But as a general rule, like, there are enough other things that you don't want it to overshadow everything else. It shouldn't be like, who cares about their gold stars, who cares about their red stars, just crank their ISO-8 up and you'll be fine. We don't want that. Yeah. So I'm hoping that ISO-8 doesn't supersede, like, so what if I have 2 red stars? I have crazy ISO-8 on that character. Like, I don't want it to be that. Although the community might prefer, like, let ISO-8 be so strong that red stars aren't as important, because ISO-8 is what matters and that we control. Right. Well, let us know in the comments. I gave my, like, off the cuff thoughts, but yeah, maybe people want it real strong so that red stars matter less. I don't know. My personal preference. I've seen it super strong in other games, and that wasn't that fun. So hopefully it doesn't get super crazy in this one. All right, and as we scroll down on this list, we see that there's 5 different classes of character currently in the game right now, and there are 5 classes containing prisms that could be equipped to the Matrix. These classes currently are Raider, Striker, Skirmisher, Fortifier, Healer. If we scroll down a little more, we see Nick Fury. He has that Fortifier tag, or at least I'm not sure if it's a tag that is associated with Nick Fury, or if that's just the gear that he has on, that ISO-8 that he has on. Do you think that there's going to be a specific class that's beneficial for each character? How do you think this is going to work? So I have a bit of an interesting take on this, and this is like, I could be wrong. We'll see how it shakes out. But I would guess, like, as a standalone character, and I don't know if the examples I'm about to use are accurate. I'm just throwing out, but like it might just be like, Killmonger should be a striker. Like, that Killmonger is just best as a striker. But I do think that you're going to see some mix and match based on which. Like, what the team is. So just as, like, a random example, like, let's say I'm running a team that has I don't know, Nick Fury and Mr. Sinister. I just picked 2 random people, and again, like, the examples I'm using, I have no idea if this makes any sense once we actually see the game, but you'll hopefully understand the concept. It might be like, as a solo character, Mr. Sinister wants to be a healer, and as a solo character, Nick Fury wants to be a healer. But since I'm running them both on the same team, I don't need 2 people to have healer. It might make more sense to put Nick Fury as the fortifier, because Sinister is even better as a healer. And even though healer is his best, I'd rather have a fortifier with my healer, something like that. So it might make sense to change it up based on the teams that you're running as well. So
having these tags associated to the ISO-8, and you could choose which ISO-8 goes on each character, making them a Raider or a Striker and so on, instead of just each character, this person is a tank, he's going to be a fortifier, this is also a protector, he's going to have that fortifier tag, and so on and so on. You could kind of choose what role to have these characters in.
Absolutely.
I would like that. I would like if they did something like that. You could kind of customize your teams, kind of based it on your red stars, things like that, to kind of just shore up some weaknesses that you have in your teams. Let's scroll down here. Unless you have any other thoughts on this section here, these different classes of characters.
No, I mean, I think in the dev blog they go into a little bit more detail about the classes, but that's one of those things where I kind of want to be a little careful because I have a bit of a better understanding of the classes. So,
all right, well, hopefully we could just stick to what's in this dev blog. Classes can be upgraded similar to abilities. So classes that require all ISO-8 to be in the next level in order to upgrade the ability in the class. And as we see down here, it looks like you can upgrade some different things on this ISO-8 right here. This is a healer level 2, and we see some different upgrades for that. Is this different for each piece of ISO-8?
You know, I never noticed this, but is that different for every piece? It looks like that says healer level 1, healer level 2. So I think that's referring to the class based on that screenshot. But if you go back to scroll down to it real quick, I'm just noticing this, and maybe I'm just reading way into it. But doesn't it look like there's like 2 empty slots at the bottom? I'm wondering if they're like down the line, they want to introduce new pieces or something. I don't know. I just had that thought. Sorry, off topic.
I mean, a lot of their stuff the classes currently are, so it does indicate that they could add some more later on, which could have some pretty interesting effects. So that could be interesting as well. And as you can kind of see the upgrade flow chart here as we start to go up.
The healer thing we're seeing is the thing in the center. That's the healer thing. So that I think is your class.
This is the class, and then so I'm wondering. My curiosity right here is: do all healers get this exact stats, or is this something that you get by rolling different pieces of ISO-8? You get different combinations.
No, that's how it reads to me. Is that's healer level 1, healer level 2. So
every healer gets the same base stat, and then
that's how it reads to me.
Okay. All right. A new icon. Looks like we have a new status effect coming with these ISO-8s. It's marked. It's a new mechanic coming with the ISO-8. It's going to increase the incoming damage by 10%. Is Striker, for example, is going to gain additional damage against marked enemies. It doesn't expire, but it will consume it, so this goes away. Skirmisher can flip positive effects against marked targets. Healer can clear marked from other allies. Looks to be an interesting effect. What do you think this is going to add to the strategy of the game, or do you think this is going to negatively impact the game?
I think it'll definitely add to the strategy of the game. I'm interested to see how big of an impact it makes, but it sounds like they're setting the game up to have a good amount of interactions revolve around this new status effect. So I'm interested to see.
So am I. And they said there's new mechanics planned for release with this feature. It looks like it's going to be available, a lot of this stuff for ISO-8 and a campaign mission, and we see a preview of it right here, the ISO-8 campaign. That's where we're going to acquire these crystals to forge these new ISO-8s that we could acquire, that we could equip on our characters. And I guess it looks like they're going to have a different energy system. Is that?
Yeah, that's what it says right there. It says it'll use a new ISO-8 energy. It won't require regular campaign energy. So basically, this is just more free stuff. So more gold, more gear, more things that are associated with this whole new energy system. So I mean, we don't know what'll be on those nodes, but that's the hope. Yeah.
Okay, I think in a previous blog post they said more that they'll have those in the gear and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's an old one and it's changed since then. Q&A, we already mentioned nose speed. The bonus stats are not randomly generated; they're predetermined, so more similar to gear than red stars. What are your thoughts on this? Because I think this was a big point of contention from the community when they first saw a lot of the stats. A lot of things would be RNG based, and I think that's what a lot of the pushback from some of the other games that had this kind of mod system in there. What are your thoughts on this being predetermined?
I'm always a fan of less RNG, right? Like giving players control over what they're doing, I don't think is ever a bad thing. So I'm in favor of this.
I am as well. So yes, good stuff. And because it's at some point games like this is about how long you've been playing. As people might not want to admit, it's about how much money you spent on it. So it's not just about luck. I want it to be about skill, upgrading characters that I want to have to be luck. So this is good news for me. Speed, we already talked about that. I think that's good. Does not cost gold. I think that was a big concern when ISO-8, when Red Stars first came out. Is this going to cost more gold? We're already gold strapped as it is. This is not going to require additional gold. Any thoughts on that?
I'm just so glad that they were forthright with that information, because I know a guy who got kicked out of a previous playtest for suggesting that might be the case last time.
So, yes, not gonna cost gold. Not currently the plan. So again, they're leaving them some room to do some different things, but no plans right now to require gold. You can change characters' classes freely, but upgrading them will cost resources. So kind of goes to what you're saying. You can kind of switch characters, theorycraft, build your teams based around different classes, so that looks good. All right, can ISO-8 pieces be moved around to different characters? The current plan is that ISO-8 is locked to characters similar gears, so there's no need time swapping them between characters. Not sure how I feel about this. I'd like that there's not as much time, once you put it on, you don't have to be switching it around, but they're locked. And I'm not sure how that interacts with class, because you could change your class freely. So I'm curious to see how this whole thing is going to play out. But I see this not being able to move kind of as a double-edged sword. What are your thoughts on not being able to move ISO-8 once they're locked to characters?
I agree. And so on my stream earlier, there was a lot of confusion about this, and there's just some confusion in general about the specifics about how ISO-8 works. And there's one clarification that I don't think we can make yet, but that I want to make, that's causing a lot of confusion for people. So it's difficult to explain what kind of an impact this has because people are missing some of the context. But I'm with you. I think there's pros and cons to it. The easiest way to imagine it is to think of it like currently like gear. I'm using kind of an abstract example, but if you have, a bunch of mini uniques and you decide like, all right, I'm going to craft this into, a big superior damage item for Symbiote Spider-Man. Once you equip it to Symbiote Spider-Man, you have it on Symbiote Spider-Man. For better or for worse, he has it. If you realize after the fact, like, oh, I wanted that on Wolverine, well, it's on Symbiote Spider-Man. So your Symbiote Spider-Man is always going to be at least that awesome. And that's the decision you made. So again, I wouldn't, regardless of how you feel about this, I would strongly urge wait until you get some more details, because it's not quite what it sounds like. But that's the general gist of it. And to explain the double-edged sword, if you could move it from character to character, then imagine if like you could unequip and re-equip gear pieces. So now imagine like you put something on Symbiote Spider-Man and then you immediately like, all right, now I'm using my X-Men. Let me pull it off Symbiote Spider-Man and put it on Wolverine. You'd be wasting a lot of time taking it off to put it on him so he can use it, and then pulling it off, put it on her. So it's a time saver, but it also makes you a bit more committed to decisions you make. So.
Yeah, so one of the big complaints, I guess, from the Swaga people is that it takes so much time to move their mods around, and it takes hours to move them around. I guess this is eliminating that, so it's not that time sink, but it kind of eliminates some creativity as well. So yeah, you want more creativity and more time in the game. I don't know. I hope this is a good balance, that it's not going to be taking away from either one. So I'm curious to see how this interacts with changing class if you're not able to move these off.
Yep, and we'll see. But so like exactly what you said with Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, like I do hear a lot of those players complain like, oh, it takes so much time to move around the mods, but they do it anyway because they want to move them around. What I don't hear any of them say is, I wish I couldn't move these. They just go, I wish there was like a quick way to move them. Yeah. But they'd never say,
this is the quick way. This is the quick. Don't worry about it. It's locked.
Yeah. I know. I don't know if it's the best solution, but it is a solution.
It is a solution. Yes. Will this add significant time to daily play? They said you're gonna have to get familiar with it, but it shouldn't add too much time investment. Thoughts on this? I know I don't know how much you can say on this. From what you've read in the blog post, do you think the system like this would take a lot of extra time?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be too crazy. I don't think it's going to take much time. It's kind of like Red Stars. It's kind of a random example, but like Red Stars, like how much time do you spend on Red Stars and Red Star related stuff in a given day? Like not a little, but not a lot. But also, I just find the question and answer a little unhelpful, because they're like, it shouldn't be requiring a significant daily time investment. According to whose opinion?
I think that, you know, all the concerns of the community. Speed stats, no, not taking the speed stats. Are they random? Is it RNG? No. Is it going to require gold? No. Can you change the class? Yes, you can change the class. Can they move it around? No. So it's not going to require a lot of things. So I think they're trying to get ahead of some of the pushback to ISO-8 before it comes around. And I think this time thing is just saying it's not going to take too much time once you get familiar with it. And then this last one, I think this is what we were speculating last week on the news video. Is this why the health bars were updated? This is one of the reasons. Yes, the previous pip indicators were essentially reached their maximum limit, and not changing it would make the ISO-8 bonuses very difficult to visualize. So exactly what we speculated last week. It is particularly due to ISO-8 that we're seeing these the health bars redone last week. Thoughts on this? Let's talk about the health bars. Are you seeing some issues with this? I haven't noticed it personally, but I've seen some questions about some people saying that it's a nerf to health, or are people just imagining this?
Well, I mean, so they just changed what they represent. So it used to, the old system we figured out was pretty dumb. I forget if it went to 15 or 16, but the old one went to like 15 or 16 pips, and that was it. And then anything beyond that, it didn't change. And the actual green bar under the pips is still a percentage. So it wasn't like you always lose 1 inch when you take 1,000 damage. Like a character with 5,000 health, when he loses 1,000, he loses a huge amount. A character with 500,000 health, when he loses 1,000, you barely see it. The pips are just there to be a general approximation for like how much more health on average each character has. And so the problem with it used to only go up to like 15 or 16 and max out is we actually looked at it. We found someone who had like 160,000 health, something like that. And they had, again, whatever it is, 15 or 16 pips. Then we looked at someone who had like 290,000 health, and they had the same maximum 15 or 16 pips. You couldn't tell by looking. You had to hit someone and then see like how much did it take away. Very confusing.
So the new system, so intuitive when you're just looking at the game. It's so smart.
Made it very confusing. So the new system, they've at least like reduced, and I don't know where they put the cutoffs, but they basically made it so like if you actually see someone with 15 or 16 pips now, that person has an insane amount of health. You'll know that. So that's good. And my guess is, I don't know where the lines get drawn, but if they've decided like, you know, every 25,000 health is 1 pip, and that way, you know, you'll have like 6 or 7 if you're at like 200, 300,000 health, whatever it is. Okay, maybe a few more, but you get it. It's probably more reasonable, and I like that it doesn't currently max out. So I do think for the health of the game, it was a very necessary change. It came with the unintended side effect of making everyone think their characters got a lot weaker, even though they didn't. Everyone looked like they had smaller health bars, and people were used to gauging it, but just ignore the black lines and look at the green bar underneath. That's what you've really always had to do.
Nice.
But yeah, no, half the feedback I got was like, I don't like it. My characters look weak.
So, you know, even with the shots, I think you got through this pretty good. Any final thoughts on ISO-8?
Okay, I do have a bit of a controversial hot take here, and this remains to be seen, but I do have a concern. I like that they've addressed all the concerns of the community, but I think in trying to head off all the concerns of the community, and again, like a lot of these are good things, like will it cost gold to upgrade? No, like I think that's just the right decision on that. But certain things, I think by caving to the community on certain ones, they make it too homogenized. Like pretty much everyone agrees, like if you cater to people too much, then you get something that actually no one enjoys that much. A perfect example is like pop music. Pop music has a lot of people that like it, but if you talk to anyone who's like, I'm really passionate about music, most of them are like, pop music is just, it's too
commercial, man. You're listening for the man, dude.
It's too much of the same, not enough risk, not enough experimentation, whatever it is, same formula, whatever they say. But that's just one example. But when you go, you know, too much exactly what people are asking, and you end up taking no risk. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe I'm just filling the air with words right now. But I do worry that there's too many things. Like one of the ones that worries me is like you can't move the pieces around. Like I completely understand people being annoyed at like, oh, now I have to move all my mods in Galaxy of Heroes. I hate it. But they hate it because they want to do it. They don't like it because it's laborious. And again, there may have been a better solution, but just being like, oh well, then you won't have to move them. How about that? It's like a lot of these decisions. I feel like they took a bit more control away from the players. So I hope they didn't take too much of the agency and too much of what made it interesting away.
I think a lot of the hardcore players are like, oh, I want to move it. I want to be able to move it. I don't like doing it, but I need to because I want the most advantage. I think there's a big percent as well that just says, I don't want to bother with this. This is just, there might not be optimized. I just want to play. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the community is going to react to this. I do want to see this in action. All right, and all together now, it looks like Negasonic Teenage Warhead is having an event as suspected with that Unity tag that we talked about last week. I wasn't sure what that was, so thank you for reminding me what it was last year for America Chavez, and it looks like, yes, you can also unlock America Chavez coming this month. And the event for Negasonic Teenage Warhead starting in a few days, June 21st. Thoughts on Negasonic Teenage Warhead having an event similar to the Cyclops and some of the other Ghost Rider, Mysterio was a Blitz milestone character, right?
Yes. Mysterio was actual milestones, I think. I think Ghost Rider and Cyclops are the ones that come to mind for the Blitz milestones.
Did you like this character release method of Blitz type release characters? Are you happy that she's being released this way, or would you prefer a different release method?
Well, we're not 100% sure what this is, but I'm always fine. Like it.
All together now event. All together now event.
You're right. It does say engage in Blitz battles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did. I liked it because it was like a lot of stuff that we're already doing anyway, and like if it's a character Blitz you already care about, then it's a way to get two characters at once, which is nice. So yeah, I was pretty happy with how they handled Cyclops and Ghost Rider. My only issue is both Cyclops and Ghost Rider, they have taken forever to make those characters available after having them available with this release method. So I hope Negasonic does not suffer the same fate.
Yes, I think you're very optimistic though.
Still waiting for farmable Cyclops, man.
Yeah, a couple other things before we started recording. Cull got added to the orbs, so I'm not sure if he is in the Red Star orb section now or not. I'm not sure if that's how Foxnix or Scopely defines farmable.
I don't think so.
But the more important thing in this thing, Vision was removed from the Mega Orb. Ant-Man also removed from the Mega Orb, baby. Finally time. What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts are I work really, really hard on infographics, and when I post them, they get like between 300 and 400 upvotes, and then there's like a 600 upvotes and climbing thread about how happy people are that Ant-Man is in the Mega Orbs. Why do I bother?
Timing, baby, timing. You gotta time it.
I'm just kidding, but no, I mean, like it's good that they're making Mega Orbs slightly more mega, but they're doing it pretty slowly. Like it's a step in the right direction, but we don't get very many Mega Orbs.
1 and 2 out for the past couple, right?
Yeah, if they can keep up this trend, but we don't get them very often, and it's still pretty random. So even if they're like, now we're down to like only 40 characters in the Mega Orb, like it's not like you get enough Mega Orbs. They're like, come on, if I just open a few more, I'm gonna get those Cull Obsidian shards I need. Like they're still just crazy random. So it's good news, but it's not crazy impactful. It just removed some frustration points. Like, well, now you won't get Ant-Man, so now you'll have to be mad about getting the next, oldest character.
I mean, I liked getting Ant-Man because I liked those Ultimus orbs, especially with the Ultimus store coming. So now my chances for that goes even lower. But I guess it's good. I could get Cull more often, though, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Man, a huge influx before we started recording. Also, in-game mail, Cable got his ability corrected. Now gains barrier only when he only gains barrier when he gains charge. It was everybody, so working correctly. Aim Researcher also got some text corrected. Any thoughts on this? Is this anything huge, or is this small news?
Well, Aim Researcher is just clarification, so that's not a big deal. That's whatever. Now Foxnix just looks less silly when you read her ability descriptions. But they still look plenty silly. If you go back to that ISO-8 dev blog, there's a typo in the Nick Fury screenshot. But anyway,
No.
Yeah,
Not a Scopely Foxnex blog post.
But the Cable one, boo! Cable got nerfed.
Yeah,
That's a bummer. I liked it better when Cable was OP and kept getting better when other people got charged. So, boo.
All right, and rumor time, my friend. Drew, the rumor guy, has been talking about some recent rumors that this character, this rodent character coming to Marvel Strike Force, was previously mentioned, kind of fell off as far as the popularity, but kind of made some headway as far as the rumors this week. Kind of been brought to the spotlight. Squirrel Girl potentially coming to Marvel Strike Force. You've been very vocal about this character, not wanting this character to come to the game. Is there anything that would convince you that this is a good character, or to have you not quit the game if this character were released in Marvel Strike Force?
So first off, I don't like when people refer to Squirrel Girl as a character. Squirrel Girl should only be referred to as a travesty, disaster, perhaps. Maybe an abomination. But either way, if Squirrel Girl were inflicted on Marvel Strike Force, I would be very, very brokenhearted. I would pretty much immediately quit the game. There's only one condition, and I guess like maybe 1.5 conditions. So that the half condition is, I suppose if Squirrel Girl releases and is an instant trash tier character, I guess I'd be okay with that. I don't see that happening, but I think I could tolerate a world where Squirrel Girl was the butt of all the MSF jokes.
Okay.
I'd make a separate section of the tier list. It would just be literally a bin, and she would be in it.
Squirrel Girl tier. Rodent tier.
Yeah. Yes. But the only other way I think I'd be okay with her coming to the game, and I've said this before, the only thing that can offset like a great and terrible atrocity would be like a great and generous gift. And so I would say if Howard the Duck were to accompany her, I would say that they would cancel each other out. The greatest of all Marvel characters accompanying easily the worst of them all. I think I would be okay with that.
All right, Foxnex, I hope you're listening. This is very serious. Khasino, we do not want to lose him to Marvel. We do not want to lose him in this game. Do not, if you are planning to release Squirrel Girl, release Howard the Duck as well, because this is some serious stuff. All right, well, with that said, I hope she's not coming to the game without Howard the Duck. I would hate to lose you, my friend. You are a valuable asset to the Marvel Strike Force community and this show. You are half this show. We would lose half the news show if Squirrel Girl came to the game.
I'll keep doing the news. We'll just have to add in a 10-minute section on why Squirrel Girl is the worst Marvel character and why I quit every week.
Big disclaimer every week.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
I'm the usual places, youtube.com/Khasino, twitch.tv/Khasino. Come find me. Discord.gg/Khasino.
Any big events that you want to shamelessly promote before you go? Anything coming up this week?
These two don't have dates, but so coming up, I will be doing the newest tier list stream because we want to try to get a bit ahead on this one. And then I'm going to be doing a new balanced draft PvP tournament. So again, nice. I don't have dates on either of these things, but it is likely one of these things will happen within a week. So yeah, just, keep in touch.
Well, stick around. His Discord link is down below. All the latest for Khasino there. Also, links to his YouTube and Twitch channel. I don't know if you are ever going to go back to Twitch, but the link is down there, guys, if you want to check him out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We do this every single week. Subscribe if you like this channel, if you like this content. Share this with all your friends, guys. Smash that share button and share this with your alliance, all of your friends, and then notification bell as well. So every time a new video goes up, you are notified. At least 4 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on this channel, guys, and all that stuff does support it helps the channel to grow. So I appreciate all your comments, and I will see you guys next time. There's some other links down below if you want to support the channel even more. But yes, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys for listening on the podcast, and give me a Hulk fist bump before you go, baby. ValleyFlyin and Khasino out.